Cool. Okay, so I think all of us, maybe not Flora, have kind of done this before. So you're gonna start sitting down with your feet on the floor and your knees planted, or feet planted, knees bent. And I'm just turning around so you can see what I do. But you're gonna place your arms out like this. Then you'll turn your hands so that your palms face down. And then you'll interlace your hands behind your back and find your thumbs really hook up into your shoulder blades. And then you'll just lie yourself down on that. Yeah. So we're just gonna start with a nice shoulder opener. Can you get your arms higher with this? Yeah. Nice. And Natalie, I don't know if you can see the playlist I put in the chat. You could start that whenever. But take your time getting into it. So yeah. Taking your time. Once you're there and you set yourself up, if you do want to lengthen your legs out long, you can do that too. So your knees aren't bent anymore and just let your feet flop out. Good. And then just begin to notice your breath. For some of us, I'll reset the playlist, Natalie. There you go, super easy. For some of us, it's later in the day. It's 5 p.m. in Berlin. And then for some of us, it's the beginning of the day. So just notice your breath, notice how your body's feeling. If you just woke up, this might just be a good way to really just get your chest forward, bring some more space into the lungs. Get that breathing going. And if you have been out and about all day or biking in the cold, this is another good way to kind of get ourselves out of the roundedness, because when we have our jackets and scarves and hats and coats on, we tend to snuggle into ourselves to try to keep warm. And this kind of opens us up and counteracts that, which is really nice. Take one more inhale here and one more exhale. And then you'll place your feet back on the ground. So you'll bend your knees and you'll lift your hips up just enough to release your arms so that your arms come down by your sides. Nice. And then just let that sensation settle. So whatever you felt in your arms, just let your arms ground into the floor and let all of that neutralize. Notice if there's a difference in how much space you feel in your lungs like this. Eyes could totally be closed this whole time if you didn't do that already. And then we'll all hug our knees in towards our chests. And then you can just rock yourself from right to left, circle your knees around. Good. Circle in the other direction. And then you'll place your left foot back on the ground. You'll interlace your hands behind your right hamstring and then try to straighten your leg to the sky, but then let your leg press forward into your hands so that we're trying to get our leg to just be perpendicular to the sky. So we're not trying to really pull our leg in towards our face. We're trying to let it be perpendicular. Your foot is flexed. Yeah. And then you can let your left leg go nice and long so you can really find this nice L shape. And foot can be totally flexed here so the whole bottom leg is engaged. Good, yeah, and it's nice to have a slight bend in this knee. We're not trying to have any sort of amazing hamstring stretch yet. Take one more inhale here, just feeling that L shape and the strength and lengthening here on your entire leg and low back. And as you exhale, you'll hug your knees back into your chest again, letting that go, and we'll just switch on over to the other side. So take any little rocks or movements that you want, but then you'll place that right foot on the floor. You'll interlace your hands behind the left hamstring, flexing that foot, can have a slight bend in that knee. Good. And then, yeah, let that right leg go long, but really imagining that you're pressing your right foot into an imaginary ground that's there. So your right leg is completely engaged. It's not flopping out there. And that left leg or the right leg's engaged, the left leg's engaged, and pressing a little bit more into your hands. Take one more inhale here. One more exhale. And then on your next inhale, you'll hug both knees into your chest again. Give yourself a little bit of a rock. And then you'll place your knees back on place your knees on the ground. Place the bottoms of your feet back on the ground so that your knees are bent. Yeah. And then you're gonna let your arms go nice and long down by your sides and try to bring your heels back so that your heels gently graze your fingertips. So the palms are down on the ground, your fingertips are long out. Yeah. And you can keep your head back down. But once you have that length, this is just a good measure. And everyone can make sure that the toes are facing forward so that they're parallel and they look like train tracks. Yeah. Knees are at hips width distance. So if you were looking straight forward and taking a look, you'd see your knees going straight out of your hips. And then from here, we'll just take some pelvic tilts just to start to feel the different motions of movement in our spine. So you'll tuck your hips under so that your butt kind of lifts up off the ground, and then you'll arch your spine so that your lower back lifts up off the ground a little bit. Now keeping your whole back on the ground, we're just moving the pelvis forward and back. So it's like a little mini twerk, if you know how to twerk, or we're doing like a little hip isolation. If you ever were in a jazz class and did any sort of hip isolations, we're just gently tucking the hips under and then back again. And your hands can be on your belly if that feels nice to feel the pelvis move, or they can just stay down by your sides. Take a couple more rocks like this, just really feeling the flexion and the protraction of your spine. And then find your neutral spine again. So you'll feel the curves of your spine on your back. Good. And then we'll take 3 glute bridges. So once again, make sure your heels are grazing those fingertips. And then as you inhale, you squeeze the butt together, lift your butt and lower back off the ground, middle back off the ground. Take a breath once you get to the top, pressing all 4 corners of your feet down into the ground, and then release yourself back down to the floor. And take 2 more just like that, really thinking of engaging everything in your butt and your core as you lift up. All 10 toes pressing down strongly, taking your breath, and then coming back down. Take your last one. We'll only do 3 because I'll be nice. And then after your third one, you'll bring your hips back down. You'll find your heels and feet as wide as your mat, and then knock your knees on one another so that your hip flexors in the front of your hips can completely relax. So feet are as wide as your mat and your knees are knocked in on one another. Good. Take one more inhale here. One more exhale. And then on your next inhale, you'll hug those knees into your chest again. Good. And then you'll lengthen that left leg back long down onto the ground and let that right knee come over to the left side, coming into a gentle twist just to begin. That right shoulder tries to stay down on the ground. Yeah, pull back, stays down on the ground. You're gazing over that right shoulder if you can. Taking a gentle breath here, first twist of class. And then as you exhale, come back to center. Switching legs, extend the right leg long, hug that left knee in. Yeah, nice. And really try to keep that whole left shoulder down onto the ground. If that means your knee doesn't go that far down, that's totally fine. We just want to keep the stability in the upper body and the grounding of that shoulder and our arm so that we can be safe in our spines and our back. One more inhale. One more exhale. Come back to center. Last time for now, finding those knees tucked in towards your chest. Give yourself some rocks right and left again, and then rock up and down the spine until you have enough momentum to roll over your feet and shins and come to your all fours position. Good. Yeah, so knees will be underneath your hips, hands will be underneath your shoulders. Really nice and measured here, so you can really feel that you have a perfect rectangle from hand to shoulder, down your back, and then hip to ground. And then from here, we'll take our cats and cows, inhaling as you arch and exhaling as you round. And just keep going. Feeling the whole tops of your feet pressing down into the ground, so you can feel your left and right pinky toes pressing down. Good. And keep going, and then go a little bit faster, go a little bit slower. If you're having a really lazy day, you can go really slow. If you want to bring some more heat and wake yourself up, you can go faster. Just keeping those arms nice and strong. Keeping yourself nice and measured out well. Keep going at whatever pace you're going at for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Find your neutral spine again. And then you'll flip your hands around 180 degrees. So your right hand will flip to the right all the way around, left hand will flip to the left all the way around. So the backs of your wrists are pressing towards the front of the mat. Slight bend in your elbows and then take circles with your hips. So we're just getting into our wrist mobility, creating some space in those joints, bringing some synovial fluid to those joints so that they can move well. Whenever we start working a certain area in our body, blood flow starts to go there. And blood is one of our most healing liquids in our body. So we always like bringing healing vibes to the parts of our body that need it the most, and then circle in the other direction. Nice. And think about pulling your elbow points away from one another. So right elbow goes to the right, left elbow goes to the left. You wouldn't actually move them, but that's what you're feeling. Nice. Take one more circle. Come back to center, flip your hands around back the normal way. Just let all of that settle. Try not to shake it. And then you'll interlace your hands, kind of like how you did on your back. Then you'll place your hands underneath your shoulders again, like this interlace with the thumbs facing towards you. And then take some hula hoop circles with your hips. So it's like we're in jazz isolation class. Circling to the right, or you're at a party. But really try to isolate your hips so you're not like moving the whole body. Just try to move the hips around to one way. Tops of the feet are still pressing down. Notice where you're looking. Try to look down and out in front of you to keep your neck long. And then circle in the other direction with the hips. Preparing you for the next party you go to with this exercise. Take a couple more. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then come back to your neutral spine. A couple more wrist things here, just because our wrists do a lot for us every single day. You'll undo the interlace you have and then fist bump your hands together and then place that on the ground in front of you or underneath your shoulders. Yeah, so this gets the other side of our wrist. Then you can just rock gently forward and back. So if we type or text a lot, our wrists do the same thing every single day, and we're using our thumbs and our pointer fingers a lot of the time on our phones. And then our wrists get stuck in these habits. So doing these wrist mobility exercises get us out of that, the bad habits that we have, and into creating space in our wrists. Take one more rock. Nice. Come back to center. And then one more crazy thing here. You're gonna come back to your interlace, and then you're gonna place it. I'll just come to here so you guys can see it. You'll flip it so that it comes this way. So that, yeah, exactly. And then you're gonna try to put that on the ground. Or the floor. Yeah, the floor. Yeah. And then once again, come back to that hula hoop, hip circling thingy-mabob. Yeah. So your wrists are completely flipped. If this feels like way too much, you can always just come back to the normal interlace down on the ground. Yeah, so sometimes it's hard to just get the whole palm down. Circle in the other direction. Lucas and Anna are kind of dying, so sorry guys. And then you can release it, let it go. Yeah, you can shake out your wrists a little bit if you want. Just give it a little wiggle. You can sit on your shins. Just give your shoulders a little wiggle too. Shake it all out, let it all go. Hands come back down underneath your shoulders. Place your hands about a palm print in front of where they are, and then come up into your first down dog. And from here, really move it all around. take any movement that you want. So you can bend your right knee, you can bend your left knee, you can shake it out, shake your head yes and no. You can shake your arm, you can shake your leg. Just take any movement that you want to do. Yeah, you can take your socks off if you're wearing socks. Nice. Take one more inhale movement here. One more exhale. And then everyone come forward and through to your plank pose. Finding your plank. Notice if you needed to move your hands and your feet. Keeping your arms nice and strong so they're not super locked, but there's a slight bend in them. And then from here, without moving your hands and your feet, bend your knees and stick your butt up to the sky and come back to your down dog. Yes, nice. Bend your knees and stick your butt up. Good. So we're pressing down with the palm side, the thumb side of our hands. Yeah. Good. Letting the energy shoot up the arms and the back, and then have a slight bend in the knees so that if water falls down the backs of the legs. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And then on your next inhale, you'll lift your right leg up, down dog split. Right toe still face down. Your hip is nice and square. If you want to take any movement with that right leg, you can, either shaking it around or moving the ankle or knee. Good. And then step your right foot to your right thumb. Strongly place that left hand down. Come to the fingertips of your right hand. Look down at your right knee and make sure it's right on top of your right ankle. And then lift your right arm up to the sky for a low lunge twist. Good. Thinking of really pressing up against a wall with that back foot so that back heel stays lifted. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then on your next inhale, you'll swim that right arm down to the ground. You'll place that back knee down. You'll untuck the back toes, and we'll set ourselves up for Anjaneyasana. So once again, making sure you have a right angle in that front knee. The back knee and top of the shin is down on the ground. And then you'll reach your arms forward up. No. Yeah, nice. Whole top of that back foot is down on the ground so that you can find stability in the back of your leg. Arms come up to the sky, and then you can grab your opposite elbows overhead, making a frame for your face and your chest so that your chest can move through. One more inhale here. One more exhale, and then reach those arms back up to the sky. Hands come down to frame that front foot again. And then you'll bring your hips back. You'll let those right toes lift up, and you'll come into that runner stretch. Yeah. Hands can stay up by the front foot so that, yeah, or you can use blocks. Carrie has blocks. It's a great time to put blocks under your hands here. We don't have them, so you could also grab books or something, and then rock your hips from right to left. Sway, getting into all parts of the hamstring. One more inhale, one more exhale. If your hands are on blocks, just bring the blocks with you as we move our hands around. You're gonna find your right hand on the inside of your right leg. So both hands are on the left side of your right leg. And then you're gonna walk yourself so that you're facing the left side of your space. That left knee or shin will come parallel to the short edge of your mat. Those right toes will come parallel to the short edge of your mat as well. And we're in our gate pose. Hands can be on blocks if you have them. Yeah. Good job, Flora. And then from here, you'll just take circles with your hips again. Circling to the right. Bringing mobility into the hips. You can bend into that right knee as you go to the right. Good. And then circle to the left. Yeah, and you can get as into this as you want to. Lucas is kind of bending his elbows as he goes down. That's great. Or you can stay up on fingertips like Anna. Just do whatever feels good. You can get your head involved too, if you want to. Good. And then come back to center. I like doing this next part with the back toes tucked, but you can try it both ways, either keeping the top of the foot down or tuck the back toes. And then you're going to come back to your heel, bring your butt to your heel, and then come forward, kind of into a weird up dog situation. And then come back. And then take as much time as you would like in each pose. We'll go back and forth a few times. This is just getting us into a modified child's pose and bringing more mobility into the hips. Great. One more inhale here of movement. One more exhale. Then you'll come back to center. Walk those hands back underneath those shoulders if you move them at all. Untuck those toes again, and then walk yourself so that you're facing the back of the front of your space again. And then hands are framing that right foot. And you'll just bring that right foot as gracefully as you can behind you. So the top of the right foot now is tucked. Good. And then we're gonna take some pulses forward and back. Nice. Looking out in front of you, getting into the back of the hamstring and the calf. Keep going. This mat is not serving you, so I'm not going to use it. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And you'll spin that whole right foot down onto the ground and make your way into a modified side plank. Yeah, so that left knee or left shin can spin out, whole sole of the right foot's down, right arm comes up, you're either looking down at your left thumb, out straight in front of you to whichever part of the space that is, or up at your right thumb. Find your balance. One more inhale, one more exhale, and then you'll lift that right leg up so that it comes in line with your hip. So we're coming back into a kind of an L shape. Then you'll spin that right arm down so that it comes underneath your shoulder. You'll spin that hip down so that the right toes face down towards the ground. Good. The foot is nice and flexed. And then you'll lift your left arm out by your ear. So we're in kind of like a bird dog situation if you've ever done one of those strengthening exercises. And then as you inhale, you'll reach out with the left fingertips and the right heel. Then as you exhale, you'll bring elbow to knee. Inhale, reach out, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach out, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Last, reach out. And then this time, place the hand down, place the knee down. Take any sort of rinse, cat-cow wiggle that you want, and then make your way back into your downward facing dog. Good. Pedaling it out once again. Doing anything that feels nice here. Really good. Pressing into the arms and then bend the knees and stick your butt up to the sky. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up, down dog split. Take any small movements that you want to on this side to shake anything out. And when you're ready, step that left foot to your left thumb. This time that right foot or that right hand stays strongly down next to your foot. Look at your knee, make sure it's right on top of your ankle, and then lift your left arm up to the sky. Great. Keeping that back leg nice and lifted. That back heel is nice and lifted as if it's pressing up against a wall. One more inhale. One more exhale, and then swim that left hand down. Frame the front foot with your hands. Place the back knee down on the ground. Untuck the toes, and then reach the arms forward out and up. Look down at that knee, make sure it's still at a 90-degree angle, and then grab for opposite elbow. Nice. Letting your chest and head move through the frame of your arms. When we do this with our arms, it's like we're opening the windows, aka our armpits, which creates more space in our upper body for our lungs to breathe air into and out of. So it's like we're ventilating our bodies. One more inhale. One more exhale, and then you'll reach the arms up to the sky. Hands come down to frame the front foot, either on fingertips or on blocks, and then reach those hips back. Let that left toe lift up and come into that runner stretch. Yeah, rocking yourself right and left. Getting into the back of that left hamstring. This front leg can be nice and bent if it needs to be. It doesn't matter how straight things get. You can shake your head out, yes and no, if that feels good. One more inhale, one more exhale. Then we'll move into the gate pose on this side. So left hand and or left block come on the inside of the left foot. You spin that right shin so that it's parallel to the small side of your mat, and then you spin that whole left foot down so that it's also parallel to the short edge of your mat, and then you take circles. So can be really primal here. You can think of yourself as a cat about to pounce on something. So really just get into the bend of the knee. You can feel a nice opening on the outer left part of your leg and ankle, and then circle in the other direction. This whole time thinking of kind of sticking your butt out so your back stays nice and long. Yeah. And it's always okay to hop that left foot a little bit closer to the right knee if it feels like you want to have less space in between your knee and your leg. One more inhale. One more exhale. Then you tuck those right toes if you want to do that on this side and move back into a child's pose, like thing, and then come forward to a weird up dog. Yeah. Hands can stay on fingertips on the blocks or on the ground, whatever feels better of those options for you. Good. Take one more inhale movement here. One more exhale. Come back to center. Hands come back underneath your shoulders. Then walk yourself back towards the front of your mat, passing through whatever lunge you were in. And then pass that left leg back behind you so that it comes tucked back behind you and you can do those pulses on this side. Still looking down and out a little bit in front of your hands, taking those pulses, opening up the back of the leg. And then on your next inhale, you'll spin that whole sole of that left foot down, that shin on the right leg can kickstand out. You'll lift up that left arm and come into modified side plank on this side. So good. Finding your balance, thinking of having the whole top part of that right foot down on the ground. It's hard. Whole sole of that left foot can be down, so you can hop your left foot closer to you a little bit, Lucas, if that makes it easier. Yeah, there you go. One more inhale, one more exhale, and then you lift that left leg so that it comes in line with your hip. Great. And then swim that left arm down so it comes underneath your left shoulder. Turn that left hip down so that the left toes face down towards the ground. And then when you feel stable there, reach that right arm out so it's long by the ear. And just like we did on the other side, inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Finding the balance on these 2 points as you do one more. Then you extend again, nice and long. Hand comes down, knee comes down. Give yourself a little wiggle. Come back into your down dog when you're ready. Great. Once you're in your down dog, you can take a couple petals if you want. And then begin to walk your hands back towards your feet to come to a forward fold at the back of your mat. Yeah, so we'll measure out our forward fold by putting 2 fists in between our arches, let our feet are at hips width distance, and then you can let your arms just dangle and go and sway over top of your legs. Great. Slight bend in the knees if that feels good, so we're not locking out our knees. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And then slowly, 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 we'll roll ourselves up to stand, stacking vertebra on top of vertebra until once you get to the top, you can give your shoulders a roll, you can fix your clothes, you can do anything that you want. And then on your next inhale, you'll hook your thumbs up overhead and then just take some small tick-tocks right and left. And as you go from one side to the other, you can look up underneath the armpit. Nice. One more right and left. Reach up to the sky back in center, and then let your arms come down, forward fold over your legs. Hands come down, walk yourself back out into a plank pose. Place your knees down onto the ground again. Bring your knees and the inner parts of your feet and your shins to come touch. Yeah, and then tuck the toes and then come sit up on your heels. Great. Make sure that those pinky toes are untucked. If you've been running or hiking or biking or anything, this will not feel that pleasant, so sorry. You can take a few little bounces on top of your heels just to try to distract ourselves. And then shake your right arm out. It's like doing the hokey pokey. And then shake your left arm out. Good, and then do it again. And then shake both arms. You can still keep those hops or you can just stay there. Really shake out something that you don't need. Let it go, any stagnant energy. And then hands come down back in front of you, untuck the toes, sit on your heels, and then just lift one knee at a time. So once again, like we did with the wrists, we're opening up the different parts of the ankle. This is another place where we want to make sure we have good mobility in our ankles so they can help us walk around every day. We'll take one more to either side. And then hands come down back in front of you and make your way back into your downward facing dog. Good. On your next inhale, bring yourself back to a plank pose. And then we'll take a modified up dog here. So you'll let your chest come through your hands, but your back legs or both of your legs stay nice and engaged. And then bend your knees and stick your butt up, downward facing dog. Great. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. And then step your right foot to your right thumb again. Setting yourself up in this lunge. And then step your left foot to your right foot. Yeah, no one saw that coming. You can either have your feet together or your feet can be hips width distance, whichever feels more comfortable. Have a really strong bend in your knees and then make your way into your chair pose. Yeah, arms come by your ears. If you look down, you could see your toes, so you can have more weight back in your heels. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And then stand up. Let your arms just dangle back. Give yourself a little shake. And then everyone will step your right leg back, making your way into a high lunge. Reach the arms up so they're by your ears. Good. And then as you inhale, you'll open yourself up to the left for an open twist. And then come back to center. And take two more just like that. Opening to the left. Swim it up back to center. Open to the left. Swim it up back to center. And then straighten into that left leg. Hop that right foot in about a foot or 10 centimeters, whatever system you're on, and then make your way into a pyramid pose. So your arms can come down by your sides and you'll forward fold over your legs. Hands can come onto fingertips or blocks, whatever feels good. And you can step that right foot out a little bit more to the right. You want to have a little bit more stability in both legs, so your legs are kind of on train tracks and not a tightrope. Good. You can take some sways here, getting into the back of that hamstring again. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then you'll find that left hand on the inside of your left foot. And continue walking yourself so that you're in a wide-legged straddle facing the right side of your space. Yeah, so toes are in the same line. Knees can be slightly bent. Really good. And let your head just dangle down. Relax. Feet don't need to be like the craziest width ever, just whatever you like that feels stable. My legs are not that far apart. You want to feel the outer edges of both feet stably into the ground so that you know that they're holding you up. These look good. Slight bend in your knees to keep your knees really nice and engaged and your legs not locked out. And just let your head completely dangle here. You can shake your head yes and no. Getting into the backs of the legs. From here, you'll turn your left toes out 45 degrees to the left, your right toes out 45 degrees to the right, then into those knees, and then come up into your goddess squat. Great. So we're in a nice big plie. Bending your knees, so your knees stay tracking over your toes. To really think of your knees kind of reaching out a little bit. And if you feel unstable, you can always bring your feet closer together. One more inhale, one more exhale, and then place your hands on your thighs and just rock one shoulder in and then the other. Getting into the shoulders a little bit. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And then you can straighten your legs and fold forward over them again. Let that all go. One more breath, releasing it all. And then begin to walk your hands back towards the front of your mat again and make your way back into your downward facing dog. From here, take an up dog to a down dog. If you are a chaturanga person and you know how to do it safely, you can do that too, but I don't like doing chaturangas, so I don't force anyone to do them. Once you're in your dog, slight bend in your knees and stick your butt up to the sky. Yeah, you can bend your knees even more, Flora. Yeah, there you go. One more inhale, one more exhale. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up and step your left leg to your left thumb. Just like last time, step that right foot up to meet it. Great. And you know where we're going. We're coming up into our chair pose again. So find the stability in your legs and then arms come forward, out and up. You're in your chair pose. Nice. Bending into those legs, really engaging the whole quad, whole part of the leg. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then stand and release it. Yeah. This time, step back with the left leg into your high lunge. If you need to take a moment or anything, just come into this when you're ready. Back heel stays really nice and lifted off the ground, and arms come up by your ears. Yeah, so we're in a lunge. From here, as you inhale, open to the right this time. And then come back to center. Good. And then open to the right again. And back to center. Legs staying in the exact same position each time you twist, so your lower body doesn't change at all. It's just the upper body that gets to do something different. Take one more for good measure. Come back to center, straighten into that front leg, hop that left foot up towards the front of the mat a teens. Let your arms just drop and fidget or move your feet so that they're on train tracks and you can forward fold into your pyramid pose. Hands coming on blocks, pulling that right hip back as you're there. Yeah. Whole back foot is pressing down. Really good. And you can always have a slight bend in that front knee. Everyone has that. That's really good. One more inhale. One more exhale here. This time, right hand comes on the inside of the right foot. And you walk yourself so you're in a wide-legged straddle facing the left side of your space. First moments here, let yourself completely dangle over your legs. And then while we're here, let's really try to find the midpoint of our feet. So if you lifted your hands up off the ground, you wouldn't fall forward. So everyone make sure you're really in your legs. Then you can put your fingertips back down. And then rock yourself forward, rock yourself back, rock yourself right, rock yourself left. And really see if you can find the middle of each foot. So you can really press all 5 toes down. Use both corners of the heel to press down. So you're in the middle, mediating all 4 points of your foot. Then from there, you'll interlace your hands at the base of your spine and let your hands fall over, coming into the shoulder opener. Good. And then you can rock yourself right and left a little bit too. Keep that nice bend in your knees so that your knees don't lock out. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then bring those hands back to your low back. Release your arms, walk yourself back forward to the front of your mat. Pass through the lunge, make your way back to your down dog. On your next inhale, roll that body forward and through to plank to your top-toed up dog, and then back to your downward facing dog. 3 breaths in your dog, pressing down strongly with the thumb side of your hand, wrapping those armpits in towards your heart, and then find that slight bend in your knees and stick your butt up to the sky. So good. On your next inhale, or after you finished your third, whichever comes first, lift that right leg up to the sky again, and then this time bend your knee and open up the hip. Yeah, you can take some circles with your knee and your ankle. Straighten those arms if your name is Lucas. And then what we all love to do, you'll bring that right knee behind your right wrist to come into pigeon pose. Yeah. So that right knee or shin does not have to be completely parallel to the front of the mat. Mine's always at like a 45-degree angle. If you do have a blanket or a pillow, always great to put something underneath your seat just to let those hips really release. There you go. Good. And then extend the spine nice and long. And then walk yourself forward over your legs. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. We'll do a little bit of a hip flexor leg thing after this. So you get a little bit of a break before we do that really fun thing. Keep breathing. Noticing your breath. Noticing the speed of your breath. Notice how this feels on your hips. Is that better? Okay. Take one more breath here. And then begin to slowly walk your chest back up so that your legs are still in pigeon, but your torso is now up. And then you're gonna kind of sit to the right side. And you're gonna make your back leg into a 90-degree angle and your front leg into a 90-degree angle. So from my hip, my knee comes straight out, and then my foot goes to the left. And then from here, my hip to knee, and then my left leg is straight behind it. So we're in this like pinwheel-like shape, as my teacher likes to call it. And then from here, forward fold. It'll feel different and weird and probably not that great, but it's a different sort of butt stretch. Great. Taking a couple breaths to slow down again before I make you do something not nice. One more inhale. One more exhale. And begin to walk yourself back up again. And then we're gonna try to do this next thing with no hands. So I always find my hands in a prayer, but you can just leave your hands out here, whatever way feels good. You're gonna lift that left leg and then come cross it over into Gomukhasana and then lift it back. Yeah. And then try that again. And do this 3 times. Just using the whole extension and strength of your legs. After the third one, we'll meet back in that pinwheel shape. Good. Then you're gonna lift that front leg, extend it, come back and down. And do that 3 times. Good. I know this is weird, but it's good for our hips. And then come back down. And then now swing that left leg back around and set yourself up for this Janu Shirshasana type shape. And then try to just lift that left leg up like an inch without moving your spine. And then bring it back down. And then do that 5 times total. This is really good to strengthen our hip flexors. I always end up like leaning back. If you need to put your hands down to keep your back straight, that's also totally fine. After you finished your 5th one, then you can straighten that right leg out in front of you. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Sit yourself up nice and tall and forward fold over your legs. Taking a break. Really good. Yeah, you can grab with your feet if that feels nice. You can always bend your knees here a little bit. Try to really feel compact and maybe try to get those knees nestled into your armpits. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And then you'll walk yourself back up. You'll pass by of Virasana or Babasana boat pose. And then you'll cross one ankle over the other or do whatever feels good to get yourself back to your downward facing dog. Nice. We need to open the windows. Sweaty Aaron. From here, come to an up dog and then a down dog. And then on your next inhale, you'll lift that left leg up, down dog split, bend that knee, open up the hip to the side. Yeah, and circle it around. You can circle your ankle and your knee. Do it in both directions. And then you'll extend that left leg nice and long, and then bring that left knee behind your left wrist for pigeon on this side. Grabbing something to put under your hips if you did it on the other side. That knee and that shin is on this 45-ish degree angle. Good. Once you feel nice and stable in your legs and you're trying to get your hips as square as possible, then you can lower yourself down. Great. Yeah, and I didn't say this on the other side, but you can kind of find this diamond-like shape with your arms so that your shoulders completely release. You may have instinctively gone into that position already because it's really nice for the shoulders. If your forehead is connected to something, you can rock it forward or forward. You could rock it right and left to give your forehead a little bit of a massage. And once again, this is more of a being rather than a doing pose. So find your breath. Notice if your mind is wandering anywhere. Notice what the sensation in your hips feel like. And consciously breathe. One more inhale here. And one more exhale. And you'll begin to walk yourself back up. And then find those legs in the pinwheel shape on the side. So that left leg is in a 90-degree angle from hip to knee to foot. And same as the right leg, right hip to knee to foot. And it's totally okay if there's space between the ground and your right butt. I don't know anybody that actually can get that whole part of their leg to the ground. But once you're there, then you can walk yourself forward. Giving yourself an opening in a different part of the butt. In the front of this hip flexor. Breathing into this sensation. Notice if you're clenching in your jaw or your face, and try to release anything that's being bottled up there. Take one more inhale, one more exhale, walk yourself back up, and then we'll do those weird hip flexor leg exercises. So hands to prayer, hands out here, hands like this, whatever feels good. And then you'll swing that right leg around to a Gomukhasana leg shape, and then swing it back around. And then swing it again. And keep going one more time. Great. Weird stuff, very fun. And then we'll do the front leg. So you extend it out. Try not to move your back like I just did. See if you can keep sitting up nice and tall. It's really hard. It's like a core exercise. Yeah, I always make noises like Lucas. Great, you did 3. And then what was the last thing that I did? Oh, I will reach that Janu Shirshasana shape back out. And then 5 lifts of the right leg, also trying not to move. It's hard. Yeah, so that right leg's kind of on this front diagonal in front of you. After you've done your 5, I trust we all can count to 5. Then you can move into that seated forward fold again to release it all out. Shake out your knees. Give it a little wiggle. Set yourself up nice and tall. Slight bend to the knees if you want, and forward fold over your legs. I like finding the knees bent here because then your legs can stay nice and engaged. It's always nice though to let your legs flop out. So if you would rather let your legs completely relax here after all that, that's another good option. It's always nice to have options. One more inhale. One more exhale. Then roll yourself back up. You'll cross the shin over the other, roll over your legs, and then make your way back into your last down dog. So take any movements that you want to in your dog, any little pedals, really try to bend the knees and stick the butt up to the sky so we see a really nice crescendo in the spines. Beautiful Carrie, beautiful Flora, beautiful Natalie, beautiful everyone. And then when you're ready, you'll place your knees down to the ground. You'll sit to one side, and then you'll make your way back onto your backs again. Cool. Lowering yourself down to the ground, hug those knees in towards your chest again. This time you can make your knees go into little circles or figure eights. Letting your head completely release. One last little ab thing before we go into Shavasana. You'll find your arms down by your sides on the ground. You'll find your legs into a tabletop position. And then we're going to take alternating toe taps. So the right toes will tap, then the left toes, your legs staying in this tabletop shape the whole time. Do 10 on each side. If you want it to be done sooner, go faster. Keeping the whole bottom part of your back on the ground. So if you notice that your back starts to lift, then just don't go as far with your legs. And then once you finish 10 on each side for this, then you'll do 10 with both legs at the same time. Knowing that this is the last bit of effort. So after the 20 comes the 10, moving both feet, knees in that tabletop shape down. Using your breath here. Once again, noticing if your back starts to lift, then just don't go as far. That's fine. And after you've finished your 10, you'll give yourself a big squeeze of your knees to your chest again. And then you'll let yourself flop out into your Shavasana. So do whatever last movements you want. And then let yourself squeeze and splay. Good. Arms can come down by your sides, palms facing up. Make yourself really nice and comfortable. If there's something nearby that you're touching, move it unless it's there on purpose. Arms come down by your sides. You can roll your shoulders down and back to create more surface area with your back to this ground. Eyes come to a close. And really notice your breath as you're lying here. Coming back inward into yourself. Noticing any changes in your body over the last hour of movement. Maybe you feel more awake. Maybe you feel even more tired. Just notice how you're feeling. And notice how you're breathing. See if on the last few breaths that we have here, you can guide each breath into the low belly so you can fill up the whole torso with breath. And then exhale it all out. I'll let you lie here for a couple of minutes. So continue to focus on your breath and stay nice and present. And just breathe. Begin to bring your attention back to where your body is in space, imagining what's around you without opening your eyes. And then when you're ready, you'll begin to bring some movements back into your fingers and your toes, re-waking up the body. And then you'll let the movement travel up the arms and legs. So it's enough to roll you over onto your left side body, coming into a fetal position. And then using that to press yourself up to a comfortable seat, taking your time. Keep your eyes closed if you can. Palms can come face up on your thighs or your knees for a sense of being open and available to all of the grace that comes after the effort you put in. In life, we have to put an effort to get something out of it. So just as with yoga and our yoga practices, we put in effort to practice, know our bodies, know what feels good in our bodies, and find that mind body breath connection. So after the work, you get to revel in everything you just did, being proud of the last hour of effort that you put in, sitting up nice and tall. We'll end class with the breath all together. So we'll meet on empty. So exhale all your air out. Then we'll take a big inhale through the nose. Hold it, let it ripen at the top. And then big sigh, exhale out the mouth. We'll bring our palms to press at the center of our chest. We'll bring our thumb knuckles up to third eye center in between our eyebrows. And we'll end practice with a final bow, giving gratitude to ourselves and honoring the practice. Thank you all so much for coming. So good to see you all. Let me stop the recording.